Okay, so last video I looked at factorising monic quadratics when the terms were both positive, or the second constant was positive. So everything was positive, so that was straightforward. Gets a little bit more complex when we have negatives. So first thing I'm going to do is show you what happens when we expand with a negative m. So here's one with one negative, and here I'll expand with two negatives. So using the distributive law, x, so FOIL, first times first is x squared. Outside, first times last is minus 4x. Then we do the inside terms, plus 3 times x is plus 3x. And plus 3 times minus 4. A plus times a minus is a minus. 3 times 4 is 12. We collect our like terms, and our answer is x squared. Minus 4x plus 3x is minus x, and we've got minus 12. Okay, sorry, I didn't leave myself much space here. Now, looking at this one, we've got negatives in both, and actually, if you look at that, that's perfect square, so it's x minus 3 squared, but it doesn't matter, it's still going to work the same. So, first term, x times x is x squared, x times minus 3 is minus 3x, then the inside terms, minus 3 times x is also minus 3x, then we've got minus 3 times minus 3. So minus times a minus is a plus, 3 times 3 is 9. Collect our like terms, x squared minus 3 is minus 6x, and plus 9. Okay, so you'll notice here, when we've expanded, we've got our quadratic here, x squared minus x minus 12. So we've got two minuses in here, and our big in brackets has got a plus and a minus. And here we've got a minus and a plus in our answer, and we've got two minuses in our brackets. So I'm going to work backwards to show us what happens when we factorise a couple of different equations. So let's just start with a positive equation, x squared plus 8x plus 7. So remembering from what we did last time, we're looking for two numbers that add to equal 8 and multiply to be 7. This one's really straightforward because 7 is a prime number, so the only numbers that multiply to make 7 are 7 and 1. So that means that our answer is, because x squared is our number at front, so we have to have an x in each bracket, because x times x will give us our x squared. We know our numbers have got to be 7 and 1, because they are, 7 and 1, because 7's a prime number. Now, we also know that we add 7 and 1, we'll get 8. So x times x gives us x squared, x times 1 gives us x, plus 7 times x, which will give us 8x, plus 7 times 1 will give us 7. So that's where everything's positive. So next equation, x squared minus 8x plus 7. So now we've got a negative here. We've still got 7 here, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 7 and add together to be minus 8. So we know that our answer is going to be, we've got x squared, so it's going to be x out here and x out here. We know that the only two numbers that multiply together to be 7 are 7 and 1, almost. Plus 7 and plus 1 equals 7, minus 7 times minus 1 is also 7. So here, this is plus 7. It has to if this is plus 7 or this is plus 7, here both our signs were positive. Here, to get plus 7, both of our signs must be negative. So we've got minus 7 and minus 1. Okay, so when the signs are the same, this sign here in front of the 7 is positive. Let me go to the next one. If I have x squared plus 6x minus 7, here I've got a minus 7. So what I'm looking for is two numbers that multiply together to be minus 7 and two numbers that add together to be plus 6. So remember, our multiples of minus 7 can be minus 1 times 7 or minus 7 times plus 1. Okay, so here we can see that we've got a plus and a minus. And so if we put our brackets, x has to be the first thing. So what of these combinations gives us plus 6? Minus 1 plus 7 is plus 6. Minus 7 plus 1 is minus 6. So these are the factors that when we add them together, they equal plus 6. So it's minus 1 plus 7. So let's see what happens one more time. X squared plus, minus 6x minus 7. So again, we set up our brackets. We have x in both sets of brackets. So we're looking for the factors of minus 7, and we've got them already up here. Minus 1 and 7 and minus 7 and 1. So we're trying now to get two numbers that add to be minus 6. As we said before, if we added minus 1 plus 7 is plus 6. So minus 7 plus 1 is minus 6. So this is the set of factors for this equation. So minus 7 plus 1. So what you can see now is I've got four equations here that have very similar factors, 7 and 1. Sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative, sometimes they're one of each. What you've got to be able to do is to work out when this happens. If I've got, if the signs here are the same, if the sign here is positive, the signs are the same. If this is a positive, then these will both be positive. If this is a negative and that's a positive, both will be positive. If this sign is negative, then the signs will be different. If this is positive, the bigger number is positive. If this is negative, the bigger number is negative. And alright, so I'll just leave you with that, and actually no, I'll write this. So if the sign before the constant is positive, both signs okay, so that's in these two cases. In this case, if and then we just say if the sign before the constant is negative, the signs are different. Okay, so that's these two, and this is these two. Okay, we'll talk about more about that.